Hey boys and girls, welcome to Story Time. My name is Miss Peters. I am the librarian at Lexington Elementary, and I'm so excited to be with you guys today. So let's get started on our book for today. I'm going to be reading Library Mouse. That is our title. The title of a book is usually in bigger letters. It's at the top of the book. And the way that I remember the title is I know it's what the story is going to be about. Our author is Daniel Kirk, and a little song I like to do to help me remember the job of an author is, the author writes the words, the author writes the words, hi-ho librario, the author writes the words. So if you can remember that, you'll know that the author's job is to write the words. All right, boys and girls, let's get started. Sam was a library mouse. His home was in a little hole in the wall behind the children's reference books, and he thought that life was very good indeed. Every day when the library was full of people walking up and down the aisles, studying, checking out books, and working on the computers, Sam was curled up in his little hole, sound asleep. Every night, when the people went home and the room was dark and quiet, the library belonged to Sam. And every night, Sam read and he read and he read. Sam read picture books and chapter books. He read biographies and poetry, cookbooks and sports books, fairy tales and ghost stories, and mysteries by the dozen. Now, boys and girls, I want you to pay attention to some of the kinds of books I'm talking about because I have a fun activity for us to do when our book is over. Sam's mind was filled with facts and information and images of faraway places, and his imagination brimmed over with wonder and fantasy. One night, Sam decided it was time he wrote a book of his own. So Sam folded over some little squares of paper he took from the library's desk to make the pages. Then he found a pencil that had rolled underneath a shelf, and he began to write. Write what you know. Sam had read in a book about writing, so Sam wrote about being a mouse. He drew the pictures for his book by posing in his little mirror and then stretching and sketching what he saw. Sam worked very, very hard, and he finally wrote his first book, and it was done. He called it Squeak, A Mouse's Life, and he wrote on the cover, Words and Pictures by Sam. So I would say that Sam is the author of this book. He went to the autobiography section of the library and tucked his first book on the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. Boys and girls, do you know why he put his book in the autobiography or biography spot in the library? Yes, you are right. When someone writes a book about themselves or someone else, it is called a biography or an autobiography. Good job. The next afternoon, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. What's this? Asked a girl whose teacher had sent her to the library to do a book report. I've never seen anything like this before, said the librarian, and she put Squeak, A Mouse's Life, on her desk. Later, she showed it to the other librarians. Sam decided to write another book that night. It was called The Lonely Cheese. And working on the book made him feel very hungry. It was a good thing that he always found so many crumbs to eat by the trash basket in the hallway. When he had finished the illustrations, and some of you know that that also means pictures, Sam scurried to the picture book section and proudly placed his latest book on the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. Now, why did he put his new book in the picture section? Yes, you're absolutely right. It was a picture book. which means it had no words, it just had pictures. The next morning, sunlight streamed in through the library windows. "What is this?" asked a little boy who was looking for big books about trucks. "It's another book by Sam," said the librarian. "Just who is this Sam?" she thought to herself, and she put the lonely cheese on her desk. Later, she showed it to the children at story time. They have no idea who the author of this books are. Sam decided to write a chapter book. It was called The Mystery of Mouse Mansion, and it gave Sam goosebumps when he wrote the scary parts. The full moon was shining down through the windows of the darkened library when Sam crept over to the mystery section and placed his book on the shelf. Then he went back to his little hole in the wall and waited. Now he put it in the mystery section because that is the kind of book that he wrote. The next day, sunlight streamed in through the windows. A teenager who was looking for a good creepy book says, "What's this?" "We've got to find out who this Sam is," says the librarian. "I'll leave a note on the bulletin board and tell him that I would like to meet our new Arthur." She put The Mystery of Mouse Mansion on her desk, and later she showed it to the writing class that came in after school. That night, Sam found the note. It read, "Dear Sam, all of us at the library have been enjoying your book so much. We're all wondering who this mysterious Sam really is. Whoever you are, you certainly have a lot of talent. Not everyone has it in them to even write a single book, and you wrote 3. We think it would be fun to have a Meet the Author Day with you as our special guest. The children would love to hear you read your books and share some of your secrets for writing. Yours truly, Mrs. Foster, Librarian." Oh no, wonder how Sam is feeling right now. Sam felt nervous. He was happy that the children at the library liked his books. He was flattered that they wanted to meet him, but mice, as a rule, are very shy when it comes to meeting people. Sam could not understand why people thought that writing and making up stories was so hard. If only they would try, they might find out that writing was really lots of fun. So Sam had an idea. He went to the librarian's desk and got some supplies. All night long, he wrote and drew and snipped and folded and stapled his little rectangle pieces of paper into mouse-size books. In the morning, when the library opened up the children's room, there was a sheet of paper taped to the door. "Meet the Author Day," it read. A little girl was the first to see Sam's display all set up on the front table. "What is this?" she asked. There sat a tissue box with a pair of pencils taped to the side and a banner stretched across the top. On the banner was written, "Meet the Author," with an arrow pointing downward. What does that mean? The girl bent over to look inside the empty tissue box. "Oh," she said in surprise, for there at the bottom of the box lay Sam's little mirror, and in the mirror was the little girl smiling down at her own face. "Me?" she said. "And Arthur?" Next to the mirror was a stack of tiny blank books and a pile of pencils that Sam had sharpened with his little teeth. All that day, and for many more after that, people came to the little display to meet the author. Soon there was a whole shelf full of books written and illustrated by people who had never written a book before, telling stories that had never been told. Boys and girls, look at the boys and girls in our book working so hard. They did it, and you can too, and we're going to practice that in just a minute. Sam was a library mouse. His home was in a little hole in the wall behind the children's reference books. All that night, Sam sat in his hole thinking and thinking about the next book he would write. Would it be a mystery, an adventure, a funny book, a true story? There were so many stories to tell. Ha, he thought, I'll just have to write one of each. Sam picked up his pencil and got to work. Boys and girls, I hope that you enjoyed our story about Library Mouse. I have an exciting activity that I want to teach you how to do and see if you can be like Sam and become an author or an illustrator. So let's walk over, and I'm going to show you how to make the little books that Sam made in our story. First, you're going to start out with, if you want to do a picture book, you're going to start out with just some white paper that you might have at home, maybe computer paper. And you're going to take 2 or 3 or 4, however many pages you want. And you're going to take your paper and fold it in half. And what I like to tell my boys and girls is to match corner to corner. So you're going to match that corner, and you're going to match that corner, and then you lay it flat and you're going to crease it with your hands. And you're going to do as many of those as you want. Take a piece of construction paper, match your corners, corner to corner, and flatten it out so that you'll have something that looks like this. And then you can see all of your pages inside your book. Now, if you have a stapler, you're just going to put maybe 3 little staples to make sure that your pages don't come out. And now, boys and girls, you have a small book with some white paper where you can illustrate it, which means to draw, like Library Mouse, like Sam. Now, be sure you put your title and your name because you want to be the one that everybody knows that wrote that book. Now, you can also make a bigger version where you don't even fold it. You just put your paper in, get your construction paper, and staple all the way down. So there's another option for a big book. And some of my older students, I did one that had lined paper in it that might help you keep track better of your writing when you are writing your biography or your mystery or your chapter book. And you can put as many papers in there as you like. I do have a tip for you guys though. I would go ahead and create your book before you put it in your construction paper and staple, because you don't want this part to get in the way of while you're writing, especially you left-handed friends like Miss Peters. So be sure you illustrate your cover and your title, put your name, you might put a picture of what you are writing about, and you can even illustrate the back. So boys and girls, I challenge you to be like Sam, our Library Mouse, and I can't wait to see what you guys have created and see what kind of authors you can be and illustrators. I've enjoyed our time today, and I hope to see you again soon.